The Kate Smith Evening Hour. Presented by new Wonder-Sudsing Babble.
There goes Sink Smog, the guy who makes your sink look dull and dingy. He's being swept away by new Babble, world's sudsiest cleanser. Yes, new Babble outsuds any other cleanser.
That's why so many might brighter, whiter, Babble.
No sink smog with Babble.
Tonight, the Kate Smith Evening Hour is presenting Ann Sheridan, Myron Cohen, Andrea Glevsky, Maria Tallchief, Melissa Hayden, and Ethelyn Albert. Plus, of course, songs by the First Lady of Television and Radio, Kate Smith. And here's Kate to sing It's a Lovely Day Today.
It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you've got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do, something that can be done by two, for I'd really like to say, it's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say, except it's a lovely day for saying, it's a lovely day, it's a lovely day today. And whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say, except it's a lovely day for saying, it's a lovely day.
Oh, thank you. You know, always these interruptions. But actually, I'm sort of glad that you joined us here this evening because you're just in time to catch a glimpse into the sort of thing that can happen, and often does, in any average, well, I'd say maybe better than average nightclub. Now, Albert McCleary has arranged for us to be in on just such a dramatic interlude this evening. It's a vignette cast in a mood of ironic humor. We've all heard the expression beginner's luck, but the author of tonight's playlet has given the phrase a new interpretation, I think. It's going to be played by the gifted and the very glamorous star from Hollywood, Miss Ann Sheridan, with the able assistance of Mr. Philip Reed. So here then is the story of two strangers who meet and they find a new meaning for beginner's luck. Won't you dance?
That was fun.
Mm-hmm. My favorite number. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a minute.
Pardon me.
This doesn't have to be the end, does it?
Well, I'm sorry. I just felt like that one dance, that song, you
Yeah,
know.
but the evening's young yet. Why, it's only 8:30, and I'm sure you haven't had your dinner.
Could you tell that by the way I dance?
Limp, absolutely limp. For a while there, I thought you were going to faint in my arms.
Oh, no.
But really, I promise you the filet mignon won't bite you. Come on, why not take a chance?
No, really, I can't.
Oh, honestly, a steak hasn't bitten a customer around here for weeks. Ask Joe. Say, Joe. Isn't that true?
He's doing right.
There you are. Oh, by the way, we haven't really met. I'm Bill Wheeler.
Leslie Saunders.
Well, Miss Saunders, I'm delighted. And, say, waiter, do you mind if I call the waiter over
no,
and have
really.
him declare us couple and food? wonderful. Dinner's just about over, and you haven't told me a thing about yourself.
Oh, I don't know that there's too much to tell. Well, I was bred and born in the Midwest. A few years of college, a few years of little woman, what now? A short, unhappy marriage. Now, modeling, dress designing, little acting, very little acting.
Well, how about the future?
Oh, quien sabe. Like most women today, I guess. Indefinite and hopeful.
And I suppose you share an apartment with a girlfriend.
Oh, no. I live alone. But with a wire-haired terrier.
What's his name?
Irwin.
Irwin.
Now, it's about time that you started talking. Isn't this about time for the saga of Bill Wheeler? Tell me, are you married?
Who, me? Oh, no. Not Bill Wheeler. No strings on him.
Oh.
Ah, coffee at last. I like it hot, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, waiter. I'll pour it. Thank you. May I?
Oh, sure, please. Say, Bill, there's a man over there staring as if he knows you.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, no.
Hey, Butterfield. Why, Paul Butterfield, you old son of a gun. I haven't seen you in years. How are you?
Hello, Jack. Jack, I'd like you to meet,
Don't tell me. I never forget a name. I got it. Alice. Paul and Alice Butterfield, right?
That's right.
Howdy, Mrs. Butterfield. Knew your hubby long before you did, you know. Say, I understand you two have a nice couple of young squirts and a house in Westmere, Long Island.
Yes, that's true.
Well, for goodness sakes, how time flies, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, I got to be running along, Paul. Nice knowing you, Mrs. B. Well, so long, Paul.
So long, Jack.
Have fun.
I don't, Well, go on, say it.
Suppose you do.
I'm sorry. I know how you must have felt, and I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, it's a small price to pay for a filet mignon, I suppose.
I was going to tell you.
To tell me, of course you will.
Does it really have to make any difference?
To me, to your wife, or any difference to you. Is that what you mean?
Okay.
Well, aren't you going to tell me about Paul Butterfield? You are Paul Butterfield, aren't you, of the Westmere Butterfields? I mean, your red-faced friend didn't, by any chance, confuse you with some other heel.
What can I say?
Well, you might start out by telling me how your wife doesn't understand you.
On the contrary, she understands me only too well.
How long have you been pulling this gag?
Believe it or not, for 1 hour. Well, 48 minutes to be exact.
You mean I'm the very first?
The very first.
Are you sure?
Beginner's luck.
Wow. You're very adept. Bill Wheeler, no strings on him. You know, with a little more practice, you could get to be awfully good at this sort of thing.
I don't blame you for being angry.
Angry? What right have I to be angry? I'm just the girl you picked up at the bar, remember?
I didn't mean that.
And I let you know. Quite shamelessly, too. Oh, well, it's all a silly gag, and as long as we both know the score, shall we go?
We?
Too many people know you here. Don't you want to take me home?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Keep the change.
Irwin, you wonderful dog.
Oh, so this is Irwin, huh?
Yes, this is Mr. Butterfield Irwin, so
How are
he
you?
says. Just put your hat and coat there. I'll be with you in a moment.
Thanks. Hey, boy. Excuse me, Irwin. Say, this is really something.
I thought you'd like it.
Yeah, I do. Indirect lighting, wall-to-wall carpeting. Is it always so quiet in here? Leslie, you look so...
Kissable? Oh, I'm sorry. How
Never mind that.
clumsy of
Listen,
me.
Leslie,
How
honey.
could you possibly explain it?
Explain what?
Well, come look in the mirror. I'll
What
show
is
you.
it?
Look, how can you explain that?
Lipstick all over my collar.
The red badge of courage. Wear it in good health.
What goes on here?
Well, I'm just sitting here admiring a philanderer with a future.
I don't get it.
Isn't it a pity such a promising career has to die so young? Here lies Bill Wheeler. Born at 8:30, died at 10 of indelible wounds on white broadcloth.
You mean you did this on purpose? Very funny. Where's my coat?
Oh, don't tell me you're going to let a little thing like lipstick disturb you. Stick around. I'll show you something really good. Hello, operator. Give me Westmere 7131, please.
Here, give me that phone.
Let go. I had you rather I'd talk to her after you left. Hello. Hello, is this Mrs. Paul Butterfield?
Listen, Leslie, she doesn't understand.
Hello, Mrs. Butterfield? One moment, please. Here you are, Casanova. It's all yours. I'd like to see you wriggle out of this.
Please listen to me.
Take it. I had you rather I'd do the talking.
Hello, Alice? Yes, I just wanted to see if everything was all right. What? Who? Oh, her? Well, I'm at the Hunt Room. Yes, that's right, with the men from Acme. That was the telephone operator. She got the number for me. Oh, yes, dear, on the next train. Don't forget, keep the little light burning in the hall, will you? And give my love to the kids. That was a rotten, dirty trick.
Oh, really? I thought it was rather sweet, especially that part about the kids.
Where's my coat?
Isn't the telephone a marvelous invention? Any time in the future I get the notion to contact your wife and tell her about her husband's hidden talents, all I have to do is pick up the telephone, contact the operator.
So that's it, huh? The shakedown. All right, how much do you want?
Please. Over you, the sword of Damocles looks good. Let's just leave it hanging there, shall we? But if I should happen to see you around town with someone young and beautiful whose name is not Alice...
Don't worry. If you do, you can slap me in a straitjacket. Now may I go?
Well, yes, I think you've begun to get the general idea. Oh, your coat, sir. Please let me help you. You seem to be fumbling.
I'll have my wife send you a thank you note first thing in the morning.
Don't bother. Maybe someday someone will do the same thing for me. That's all the thanks I ask. And remember, marriage is an institution all women have to defend.
I don't get it. I still don't get it.
I told you. I was married once. My husband could have been a heck of a nice guy, if only he'd had the right kind of beginner's luck. Now, Mr. Butterfield, you'd better do something about that collar. The men from Acme are awfully careless with their lipstick. He'll be good. From now on, he'll be awfully good.
And you were wonderful.
Hello,
Awfully
Ted.
nice to have you on the show tonight.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
enjoyed every single second of it.
Thank you.
Thank you to give a wonderful performance this evening.
Good heavens. I think if we're going to talk about a wonderful performance, let's call on Phil Reed over there, who really gave a
Oh,
marvelous
well,
performance.
Phil, come on in here and let's thank you personally.
Thank you, Ann, and thank you, Ted. But as long as you're handing out bouquets, let's hand out one to an actor who really deserves it.
Who?
Well, our little friend here.
Well, Erwin.
Well, thank you very, very much, Irwin. You were wonderful, too. And now, back to Keith.
A Thanksgiving dinner, you know, is a lot of fun. But, oh, your poor sink. All that grease and all that grime. But we know what to do. We're using New Babbo, our favorite, because it's the world's sudsiest cleanser. Now, folks, I want you to take my tip and use it, too. It'll cut that grease real fast, and it'll get your sink bright and white. and it'll sweep away sink smog in seconds. Just watch.
Yes.
The art of telling funny stories is one that very few people have mastered as well as our next guest this evening. Oh, I know everyone that you meet at a party in particular thinks that he's a genius at storytelling. That's right. He can tell the funniest stories of all. That's what he thinks. And some of them are really very clever at it. But when it comes to getting this, well, I should say the most out of the humorous story, there's no one quite as delightful in our estimation as Myron Cohen. I know that you've seen him before because, well, he's in considerable demand for any occasion when people really and truly want to laugh. I refer you now to the one and only, the master storyteller, Myron Cohen.
Thank you, my dear. You know, since this is the Thanksgiving season, and I always like to associate that kind of season with little ones, tonight is as appropriate as any to tell about just the lovely little ones you might have at home. For example, this adorable little 8-year-old girl, quite like one you might have in your very own heart, walked into a bakery shop and said to the baker, "My mommy found a fly in the raisin bread." He says, "So bring back the fly, I'll give you a raisin." And you know, cute little 6-year-old boy walked into the grocery and said, "Mommy wants change of $1." He gave him change of $1. The little fellow was on the way out. The grocer called to him. He said, "Just a minute, son. Where's the $1?" So she'll give it to you Monday. And you know, since truth is so much stranger than fiction, imagine a man who found it possible for 25 years of his life to arrive for work every morning at 9 o'clock. Just as the good Lord made the day he walked in for his work at 9 in the morning, you could set your watch by his appearance. And suddenly one morning, after all these 25 years of punctual 9 o'clock appearances, he walked in at 10. Big lump on his head, 2 black eyes, bloody nose, ear hanging, lip torn, clothes ripped and disheveled. Boss says, "What happened to you?" He says, "Oh, I fell down an old flight stairs, almost got killed." The boss says, "So this took an hour?" You know, I had a boss like that once. But speaking of falling down, I want you to hear about a man who's been drinking very heavily. This man is loaded, blind, fractured. There is a word that will accurately describe his condition. It may be found in the new issue of the unabridged Funk and Wagnall's Dictionary. He was fablonget. It's a French derivative which will be found under either F or B, I'm not sure. But in this drunken stupor, he walked into an empty elevator shaft. He fell 10 floors. Now, that'll happen to some of us on occasion. Picked himself up, brushed himself off, and said, "I guess I should have said up." But you know, idle conversation always gives me a big kick. The other day, I was standing about 2 or 3 feet from 2 young men who were in conversation, and one said to the other, "Where did you was this past winter?" Says, "I was in Palm Springs." Says, "You was where?" He says, "Palm Springs." So what is you don't talk a good English? It's not Palm Springs, it's Palm Springs. Says, "You know, you're right. I had it confused with Palm Beach." And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you, please, for a moment to imagine, if you will, Christmas in California. Christmas in California. What could be lovelier under normal weather conditions than Christmas in California? A native New Yorker walking on a Wilshire Boulevard meets a native Californian. And if you know native Californians, you know how very, very proud they are of their home state. The Californian, drawing himself up to his full height, says to the New Yorker, "How do you like my California?" He answers typically New York, "Yeah." Says, "You don't like it?" "What's the matter? You don't sound enthused." Says, "So what is to be enthused? It's California." Says, "You're not enjoying here?" So I'll tell you the truth. If I would be home in New York, I would be enjoying better. Says, why? What will you be doing? He says, I will be packing to go to Florida. Of course, when you tell it in California, you can switch it to suit yourselves. And ladies and gentlemen, the mention of California reminds me that in April, just before I left Florida to come up north, I was in a drugstore on Lower Washington Avenue in Miami Beach, the deep south. Little fellow came in, sat down alongside of me at the soda fountain, and I heard him say to the soda clerk, today, if y'all be so kindly, Dalton, you know, it's the deep south. He says, I feel like Debbie shall make me a pineapple banana peach melody. Says, y'all put me in a special glass. On the bottom, you stick me some pineapple. Nachher, you'll give me some vanilla ice cream. Nachher, I must explain, that's a southern delicacy, like corn pone, nachher, covered with yams. Said, then you'll cut mother panini. On top of this, some chocolate ice cream. Then in honor of the Hounds Bowl game, you give me a piece of Hounds. Not the stickel tangerine will do. Then you give me some crushed nuts. Then some whipped cream. A few chocolate sprinkles. And on the top there, if you'll be so kind, you stick me what I call a cherry, like they say. And the clerk says, I got y'all, mister. Maybe y'all got time to come in Monday for our fitting. And folks, you're very kind, but you know, I like to think a great many of the young men throughout the country have a right to know that while they were away in the last war, a great many very strange but very interesting and humorous incidents occurred. For example, when the American army occupied Rome, I then told a story of a little Italian-American soldier boy who had been given a pass for the weekend. Since in civilian life he'd been a lover of the finer arts, as most Italian families are. It occurred to him it might be wise to visit some of the very beautiful palaces his mother had told him about. Now, he came upon 3 statues he couldn't quite understand. The first statue looked like this, the second like that, and the third like that. So he walked up to the Italian caretaker and says, would you be kind enough, sir, to tell me what those 3 statues represent? And the kindly little old Italian man said, I'll be very happy to tell you what that means. I'll explain it for you. He said, the first statue, she said, who spit on the floor? He did it. Who, me?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we'll bring our program to a close for this evening with Kate singing a song that she's done for so many years at this time of the season. The title of the song is Bless This House.
Bless this house, oh Lord, we pray. Make it safe by night and day. Bless these walls so firm and stout, keeping warmth and trouble out. Bless the roof and chimney tall. Let thy peace lie over all. Bless the door that it may prove ever open to joy and love. Bless these windows shining bright, letting in God's heavenly light. Bless the hearth a-blazing there, with smoke ascending like a prayer. Bless the folks who dwell within, keep very much. We sincerely hope that your house will be blessed this Thanksgiving Day and in the year to come. And all of us here hope that you'll be blessed with happiness and good health, and that your family gathering on Thanksgiving will be a joyful one. We'll be back again next week at the same time.
This evening hour will be brought to you by Nord. You don't know what you're missing if you don't do Nord. Next week, when Myron and Nord go to most of these same stations.